Hollywood is built on dreams of perfection. But what happens when a star's face no longer fits the fantasy? Behind the flashing cameras is a brutal reality for some celebrities. Plastic surgery doesn't just change their looks, it ends their careers. Can one surgery really erase fame overnight? Stay until the end because the final story may change how you define beauty. Subscribe, like, and comment to join the conversation. Do you think Hollywood's obsession with perfection goes too far? Comment 1 for yes, 0 for no. In the 1980s, Jennifer Grey rose to fame as a pop culture phenomenon after her iconic performance in Dirty Dancing, winning over audiences with a charm that felt natural, expressive, and deeply individual. Her slightly asymmetrical nose, so different from Hollywood's polished standards, became central to the identity of Baby, distinguishing her from countless interchangeable stars of the era. That singular look and presence made her unforgettable, securing her place as a standout talent whose personal imprint could never be duplicated. However, choosing to have a nose job at the peak of her career became a devastating turning point. Though medically successful, the procedure unintentionally erased the face audiences recognized and loved. Jennifer reappeared with a more traditionally attractive look, but one that felt unfamiliar. Filmmakers and viewers struggled to connect her to the star they once admired, and her fame rapidly slipped away. Once a celebrated actress, she found herself fading into anonymity, a painful reminder that surrendering personal identity to meet societal beauty ideals can come at an irreversible cost. Don't attempt to erase the traits that define who you are in pursuit of an empty version of perfection. Often, those so-called imperfections are the very signature that makes you unforgettable. By choosing to live truthfully as yourself, you protect your inner worth and project a natural allure, a rare kind of brilliance no manufactured standard can ever imitate. Ashlee Simpson's change extended beyond looks and cut straight into the identity of the personal brand she had shaped. As an artist who framed herself as authentic and rebellious against the norm, any move that challenged that image carried heavy consequences. Choosing to alter her appearance so soon after the lip-sync scandal delivered a double blow, making fans question whether her message of self-acceptance had ever been more than a surface-level marketing tactic. Once trust is damaged, restoring it is extremely difficult, particularly within a pop rock fan base that prizes edge and authenticity above everything else. Ashlee's post-scandal trajectory became a clear lesson in what happens when an artist disconnects from their core supporters. As her appearance moved toward a sleek, manufactured ideal, she gradually blended into the mainstream pop scene she once resisted. Audiences aren't hostile toward cosmetic surgery itself. They react to the contradiction between a rebellious image and actions that no longer align with it. The persona of a fearless, defiant rocker slowly gave way to tabloid stories about her personal life, while her music alone could no longer compete in a brutal entertainment landscape. In shaping a public identity, authenticity isn't merely an aesthetic, it's a commitment to the audience. When credibility rests on originality and individuality, any act of conformity or concealment can set off a domino effect, ultimately dismantling the entire structure of trust. Crystal Hefner's story reflects a powerful break from the glass cage created by Hollywood's toxic beauty ideals. For years, she reshaped herself into a decorative symbol, allowing foreign objects into her body to preserve her role as the Playboy empire's so-called muse. But confronted with physical suffering and profound emotional burnout, Crystal realized that public adoration could never fill the void quietly growing inside her. Choosing to remove her implants and step away from all invasive procedures became a bold statement she no longer belonged to Hugh Hefner or public expectations. She belonged to herself. Abandoning the sex symbol persona in favor of a natural look was a dangerous gamble, yet one that ultimately preserved her life. Rather than continuing as a manufactured icon, Crystal embraced her scars and imperfections in return for autonomy, healing, and long-term well-being. This change went far beyond the physical, marking a deep shift in perspective from living for the approval of others to valuing her own existence. She demonstrated that beauty is only real when it no longer endangers health or survival. Well-being and inner peace will always outweigh any temporary aesthetic ideal. Never trade your life or identity for an image defined by others, because when the spotlight disappears, you alone remain to bear the scars on both body and soul. Don't reshape yourself into someone else's reflection. Health and inner peace are the rarest treasures, worth far more than any passing beauty trend. Giving up your identity to fit an imposed image only leaves permanent marks both on the body and the mind. Choose to live for yourself, not for approval. If this message resonates with you, comment 1 below. Got a different take? Drop a 0. From the peak of fame as Hollywood's cherished girl next door, Tara Reid became ensnared by the industry's unforgiving standards of perfection. The demand for an ideal body pushed her toward ill-advised cosmetic procedures that left lasting damage both physically and emotionally. Rather than being met with empathy, her struggles were turned into global tabloid mockery. The failed surgeries did more than alter her looks. They shattered her confidence, the most essential asset an actress can have. Hollywood's rejection of Tara became a harsh example of a beauty-obsessed industry that is both brutal and short-lived. Once she no longer matched the ideal of perfect beauty, she was quickly sidelined from major roles and relegated to low-budget B-films. The cameras that once celebrated her smile instead waited for moments of vulnerability, eager to capture the decline of a beauty now labeled flawed. Her story became a sobering reminder of how a star can be destroyed by trying to repair what was never broken. Wanting to evolve or improve is natural, but when that urge is driven by fear and outside pressure instead of self-belief, it often leads to ruin. Learn to value your individuality before scalpels and strangers' expectations reshape your sense of self. At only 19, before her sense of self was fully developed, Denise Richards placed complete trust in cosmetic surgeons chasing the industry's sex symbol ideal. What she received was not perfection, but a body that no longer felt like her own, and a profound sense of loss of control, as the implants far exceeded what she had agreed to. This wasn't just a medical misstep, it became a deep psychological wound for a young woman just starting to find her footing in the high-pressure world of entertainment. In the years that followed, Denise focused less on artistic growth and more on undoing the consequences of decisions made without full awareness. Her effort to restore harmony to her body turned into a long, painful, and expensive process of repair. She later chose to speak candidly about her experience, not only to unburden herself, but to caution younger generations against surrendering control over their bodies without proper knowledge. Hollywood may promise instant fame, but it is equally quick to consume young, unprepared individuals who lack the psychological strength to face the realities of cosmetic surgery. Returning to a more natural, balanced look allowed her to rebuild confidence, yet the emotional wounds from that first decision still linger as a powerful reminder. Never alter your body permanently out of youthful impulse or outside pressure. Before choosing any procedure, inform yourself fully and consult ethical, reliable professionals because one rushed choice can carry consequences that last a lifetime. Heidi Montag's choice to undergo 10 plastic surgeries in a single 24-hour period became not just a shocking record, but a chilling warning about how fame can warp self-image. When her heart briefly stopped on the operating table, it was her body forcefully resisting the extreme trauma she had imposed on it. The cost was nearly fatal. She came terrifyingly close to losing her life while chasing an impossible beauty ideal, reducing herself to a dangerously risky medical gamble. Rather than inspiring admiration, her transformation left the public stunned and worried by what seemed like an unhealthy fixation on appearance. Heidi's career soon slid into an irreversible downturn as she unintentionally erased the sense of humanity audiences once felt. Fans who had loved the gentle girl from the hills now felt disconnected from a hardened face and a body shaped by aggressive industrial-level alteration. When a performer turns themselves into an artificial commodity, they lose the emotional resonance and empathy that are crucial for lasting success. She ceased to be remembered as a celebrity and instead became a cautionary example of how unchecked ambition can erase personal identity. Beauty can be an asset, but it should never outweigh life or the soul. Once the body is treated as raw material to be shaped rather than a living entity to be honored, health is lost, along with the capacity to build real, meaningful connections with others. Your body is a living system that deserves protection and respect, not raw material shaped by someone else's ideals. Sacrificing health for appearance costs more than physical strength. It weakens your ability to connect deeply with life itself. Beauty can be useful, but the soul should always be in control. Do you believe inner worth matters more than looks? Comment 1 below. Think appearance still comes first? Drop a 0. And remember to like and subscribe so we can continue sharing thoughtful conversations like this. Courteney Cox's image didn't unravel because of one rash choice, but through a gradual series of just one more tweaks over the years. In Hollywood's merciless environment, every wrinkle is viewed as a threat, and fillers seemed like an easy solution to maintain Monica Geller's youthful charm. Ironically, that convenience dulled her perception of herself until her face no longer felt recognizable and its natural expression had been lost. This wasn't just a cosmetic misstep, but an identity rupture as a gifted actress unintentionally lost her most vital instrument of expression. Courteney's brave choice to let the fillers dissolve completely and accept the natural course of aging became a pivotal step toward reclaiming herself. She ultimately understood that a woman's beauty isn't found in freezing time, but in the confidence and lived experiences written across her face. Her openness about regret became a source of strength for anyone burdened by the fear of aging, revealing that artificial perfection often demands an unbearable price. While she no longer carries the untouched beauty of youth, she now radiates inner peace and authenticity. Growing older is not a flaw to conceal, but a natural truth of life, and only by stopping the fight against time can we truly cultivate wisdom and care for the soul. Melanie Griffith was once celebrated for both her beauty and talent, but the fear of fading with age pushed her to lean too heavily on cosmetic surgery as a form of security. Repeated facelifts and lip injections slowly blurred the unique features that had made her one of Hollywood's striking wild roses. The transformation happened so gradually that even she failed to notice the extent of the change until it was met with the public's sharp and unforgiving judgment. Rather than being celebrated for her commanding roles, her name became tied to discussions of cosmetic procedures gone too far, slowly pushing a once vibrant career toward a standstill. Melanie's late acknowledgement of regret serves as a stark reminder of how easily boundaries can disappear in the chase for altered beauty. When a public figure views themselves through insecurity, the slide into cosmetic dependence becomes dangerously tempting as surgery is used to compensate for the damage left by fractured self-worth. For an actress once honored with an Oscar nomination, the loss of natural facial movement meant losing the essence of her craft. Years were spent facing and attempting to undo the damage. Yet what disappeared went far beyond appearance. It was the most valuable stage of her career, the time when age could have added depth, strength, and nuance to her work. When people chase youth at any price, they often forfeit both the present and what lies ahead, because an artist's real beauty lives in the emotions and stories they express, not in a rigid, lifeless face. Dana Delaney's experience didn't start with excess, but with a modest attempt to maintain a youthful look, one that unexpectedly spiraled into a career-altering setback. What appeared to be a routine Botox procedure turned disastrous after a medical mistake partially paralyzing her facial muscles and leaving her eyes permanently uneven. For a serious actress, the face is an emotional instrument. Losing control over it is far more than a cosmetic mishap. It strikes at the heart of her ability to act. It reveals that even with caution, unseen dangers can emerge, turning a seemingly simple procedure into a long-lasting nightmare. Dana's strength in confronting the neurological consequences reflects the resilience of a woman who learned to appreciate natural beauty through deep disruption. Rather than concealing the damage or repeatedly resorting to surgery to correct it, she chose transparency, using her experience as a sincere warning to anyone considering altering their own body. The consequences left a permanent mark, exposing how Hollywood often prioritizes surface perfection while ignoring genuine health dangers. Dana was forced to adjust to her changed appearance while struggling to rebuild her career, carrying a hard-earned lesson about safeguarding what is most natural and valuable. Before choosing to alter your body, no matter how small the procedure appears, carefully balance the short-term gains against the potential cost if things go wrong. Every change made to the body, even a single injection, is an agreement with risk. Before placing your face, your career, and your future in someone else's hands, ask yourself, are you prepared to pay the ultimate price if one small error occurs? Don't allow short-term gains to outweigh lifelong safety. If you believe safety should always come first, comment 1. If you're willing to risk it for appearance, comment 0. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to help protect yourself and those you care about from irreversible choices. Vivica A. Fox was once known for a lively beauty with gentle features that made her feel warm and relatable on screen. Over time, the pressure to meet Hollywood's rigid beauty ideals caused her face to lose its natural movement, replaced by the stiffness of cosmetic alterations. Her once bright smile now feels forced, greatly reducing the emotional range she can express in her performances. This change goes beyond surface appearance, reflecting the exchange of a unique identity for an industry-produced, standardized image. While Vivica has continued to push forward in business and remain active creatively, public nostalgia for her earlier look is impossible to ignore. Audiences don't connect with beauty alone. They respond to warmth, emotional energy, and the soul an artist brings to the screen, qualities no filler or facelift can ever manufacture. Trading natural softness for a flawless yet hollow look exposes the harsh cruelty of Hollywood, transforming once unique beauty icons into figures that feel oddly unfamiliar. With each change, the emotional gap between them and their audience grows wider. Real beauty lives in emotional vitality and the individual traits that radiate warmth. Don't become so consumed with altering facial features that you forget it is natural ease and softness that create enduring appeal, something no cosmetic advancement can ever imitate or replace. Janice Dickinson once stood at the top of the fashion world as the self-proclaimed first supermodel embodying sharp-edged beauty and authority. As time began to dull that image, she chose not to age naturally, but to wage an aggressive fight against it through countless cosmetic procedures. Making her tear down and rebuild process public did nothing to revive her former status. Instead, relentless alteration pushed her once distinct features into an extreme, almost cartoonish reflection of who she used to be. In the process, she unintentionally dismantled the very legacy that once defined her beauty, replacing it with a shocking new image that left the public mourning a fallen icon. The fallout of Janice's cosmetic dependency reached far beyond appearance, unraveling both her finances and her reputation. Massive spending on endless procedures pushed her dangerously close to bankruptcy, exposing a costly misjudgment, one that wagered an entire fortune on short-lived surface-level ideals. Rather than being honored as a trailblazer in fashion, her later years became dominated by scandal and constant commentary on her altered appearance. Her experience is a harsh reminder that ambition without balance or self-awareness can cost far more than success or financial stability. It can erase an identity built over a lifetime. No one's value or legacy should depend solely on physical beauty because it is a currency that inevitably fades with time. Learn to embrace and evolve with every stage of life because clinging to the past at all costs often fractures the present and fills the future with regret. Each phase offers a lesson to absorb, not a former self to recreate. When you find the courage to release what's already gone, you allow yourself to grow fully and move forward with clarity, freedom, and inner peace. Courtney Love once personified the spirit of grunge, raw, chaotic, and unapologetically imperfect. She existed in open defiance of Hollywood's polished, factory-made beauty ideals, encouraging millions to embrace their differences. But when she reshaped her nose and enhanced her lips to seem more acceptable, something essential was lost and a fragment of the rebel icon's spirit quietly faded. Showing up with an appearance strikingly similar to the very ideals she once rejected created a sharp contradiction, draining her music and message of their former raw force. Courtney's turn toward cosmetic procedures didn't deliver confidence. It led to a delayed, painful awareness that something irreplaceable had been sacrificed. She ultimately recognized that refinement did not enhance her creativity. If anything, it softened the edge that once crowned her a rock queen. When an artist gives up uniqueness in pursuit of standardized beauty, they also give up their greatest strength, the audience's faith in their authenticity. Courtney's eventual admission about cosmetic surgery reflected the weight of a decision that conflicted with her true identity. Artificial perfection doesn't always lift an artist up. It can smother what makes them distinct. Don't fade into the very norms you were meant to resist, because in both art and life, imperfection and individuality are what create enduring meaning. At only 24, motivated by the desire to look more alluring, Lisa Rinna chose a then rudimentary procedure injecting silicone directly into her lips. She could never have predicted that the choice would leave them permanently enlarged, becoming an accidental and highly debated signature. Enacting facial harmony and natural movement are essential for portraying diverse roles, but in Lisa's case, her lips began to overshadow everything else. Casting directors increasingly viewed her as a cosmetic symbol rather than a serious performer, unintentionally limiting her access to the layered, substantial roles she once sought. Lisa's transition from scripted drama to reality television was a way to adjust to a world where her disputed appearance became usable content for entertainment. Though she later made a courageous effort to remove some of the embedded silicone and regain facial balance, the image of her exaggerated lips had already been permanently fixed in the public consciousness. Her experience goes beyond a failed procedure, revealing how a misjudged beauty decision can redirect an entire life in ways no one foresees. She remains successful, yet the cost lingers in the form of regret for an acting career that might have been deeper and more diverse without those fateful lips. Cosmetic changes should enhance who you are, not create a single feature that eclipses talent and character. Before choosing permanent alteration, ask yourself whether you're prepared to let that image replace your name and define your worth in the public eye. Reed Ewing's experience shows that failed cosmetic results don't always come from an unskilled surgeon, but from a distorted self-image. Battling body dysmorphic disorder. He became trapped in a pursuit of perfection, hoping surgery would heal deep internal insecurities. He went through repeated procedures on his jaw and cheekbones, yet each time he emerged from anesthesia, he gained not confidence but intense physical pain and a severe psychological collapse. For Reed, cosmetic surgery turned into a cycle with no finish line, where each change only deepened the self-hatred he was trying to outrun. His decision to speak openly about his condition became an act of healing not just for himself, but for others facing the same battle. He confronted a hard truth: no procedure can repair a soul damaged by insecurity. Rather than chasing illusions through surgery, Reed chose to face reality and pursue mental health treatment instead of cosmetic fixes. His experience reveals the shadow side of the beauty industry, where fear can be monetized while the real issue, the mind, is left untreated. Cosmetic procedures may reshape appearances, but they cannot repair how you value yourself. If self-acceptance is missing when you face the mirror, no successful surgery will ever supply it. Heal the mind first before choosing to alter the body. Joan Rivers was a true fighter, someone who transformed her fear of aging into biting, fearless comedy. She spoke candidly about cosmetic surgery, not as an act of vanity, but as a clear-eyed response to the entertainment industry's harsh rule: stay young or disappear. Her long, legendary career was built on relentless effort to remain camera-ready, even when that meant enduring countless procedures behind the scenes. She turned her face into a symbol of survival, refusing to let age steal the spotlight she had fought so fiercely to claim. Yet beneath the sharp wit and confident grin lived a quiet fear of vanishing the moment youth faded. The end of Joan Rivers' life stands as a tragic pause, a stark reminder of how thin the line is between self-preservation and self-destruction. After enduring countless cosmetic procedures, she ultimately lost her life to complications from what was meant to be a routine medical intervention, an unbearably cruel turn of fate. Our look at 20 Hollywood faces comes to a close, yet the obsession with perfection clearly lives on. We've watched legends stumble, careers unravel, and even lives be lost in the desperate attempt to hold on to youth. In an era ruled by needles and scalpels, has natural beauty become a rare kind of luxury? Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss future deep dives into the hidden sides of the entertainment industry. Among these 20 stories, which one affected you or saddened you the most? I'll be reading and responding to your thoughts right here.